Hello, YouTube. This is Anthony Parent of IRS Medic, and I have an incredibly special guest with me today. I've been a tax attorney for about 20 years, and I'll tell you what, it's no matter how complicated the IRS is, sometimes it's really the personal relationships we have in our life that can be far, far more difficult to solve. And oftentimes it's trying to tell your, actually, because we're going to get this, how to tell your wife about a tax problem. That's what we're going to be discussing today. With me is Ireland's #1 dating coach, Frances Kelleher. She is all about this, helping couples get along together. And so I met her and I said, look, this is where I need a lot of help. My clients need a lot of help. They have these tax problems going on and years go on. And I was just talking to one of my great clients earlier this week. He told his wife about the tax problem after 7 years of it getting a little out of control. So I told him, I said, well, we're going to be, I have a coach here. So Frances, thank you so much for joining me today. So tell me a little bit about yourself before we go into it, because what we're going to do is we're going to do a little play acting. I am going to be the husband with a big, massive tax problem I haven't told my wife, and you're going to help walk me through the steps of telling her about what's going on. And then we're going to flip it around at the end, though, because it does happen where a wife has to tell a husband about a tax problem. Usually the facts are a little bit different. We'll go over that. So Frances, #1 dating coach, welcome to the show. So who do you help? Who do you enjoy helping? That's my question. Who do you enjoy helping?
Thank you so much, Anthony, first of all, for having me. What a privilege to be on with you and your lovely viewers. I'm so honored to help in any way. So thank you for having me. I help people, single people, men and women. I'm not just a female coach to dating coach to help people find the right guy. I do both sexes, and I help the singletons find their right person quicker and easier than they would alone. So we teach them all about the dating apps and all that. And we also help people within relationships to stay harmonious, keep the emotional bond healthy, keep the partnership healthy by understanding the gender intelligence, which basically means the difference between men and women's brains, why women do what they do, why men do what they do, how we find it so hard to understand because, you know, we're different that way.
Well, and you're a big, you're trained by the Men Are for Women.
John Gray.
John Gray, right. Now, I've heard about that myself. I didn't read that whole book, and I think it was something where I heard of. I'm like, oh, that's just some sort of new agey thing. But then as you read it, it does seem to be kind of based in reality, I gotta say. And certainly some of the things that you and I privately discussed, I really see how men are hardwired differently, and that, you know, and so many times, and the man we're doing the right thing, yet the result we get is wait, how did that go wrong? What happened? what happened? We're looking around like we've been mugged. We've been mugged by reality, because I think it's really not understanding what our role should be, and not understanding what a woman perceives our role to be, and that if we're actually doing, they might not know we're doing what they think we're doing something else sometimes.
Something else.
So
very true. Very good point. And you know, I love that you said that, Anthony. It's such a clever, insightful remark, because even John Gray, when he was teaching us, said, you know, years ago the roles were easier, they were more defined, they were more clear cut. The woman, you know, nurtured the children, she stayed at home. The men brought, you know, in the bacon and the bread, as we say here in Ireland. You know, they went out, they were the providers. Now the roles have changed. Women are being pushed into their masculine energy while they're at work, you know, every day. Men are being pushed into their feminine. Nobody really knows what role should I have, or I'm trying to, you know, cross over. And of course, women, when we're in our masculine, aggravate the guy, and vice versa. So it's way harder to have harmony in relationships in this day and age than any other time before. Women have twice the burdens of their mothers and grandmothers did. So they've tried twice, Chris.
Right. And I totally agree with that. And that's when, you know, you're talking like, wow, you really illuminated me, because while roles have been switched and merged together, fundamentally, and I was telling you this earlier, but I remember when I was 12 years old, doing something wrong or something stupid, my dad gave me a talking to, and whatever. I remember this. I remember that the end of the conversation was this. He said, "The father's job is to provide," is what he said to me, like that. And I laughed. I'm like, that's so stupid. Like, what? Like, huh? Like, what's that about, man? And then I realized the wisdom of his advice. Like, if you want to be, you want to be that provider, son. That's what you want to do. That's a really good role. You want to do that. But now we have this mixture here. But then this is the thing. This is what I realized. It's like, well, if men are the provider, primary provider, and the roles get mixed, that means something here. That if you think about it, and I was like, wait a second, if that's the truth, if men are providers, they tend to be, and then when women are providing, they do it in a different. When women are working, usually it's done in a different way. And this is really the stress here, is that the U.S. tax code will impact that providing role. That provider gets hammered because that's actually what it's attacking. What the money is bringing into the house. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, whoa. It like illuminated me when I saw it. Not to say that women aren't working and that we don't have women clients, but generally this is the thing. And that is sort of the setup I think I want to go through, is like, let's imagine that I imagine myself as a provider, and I've been providing for my family. I've been working my butt off, creating a business for myself, trying to take care of everybody, making everybody happy. And let's just say that I'm doing okay monetarily wise, and I'm providing for my family. And now we're getting used to a certain standard of living. We have a house, the kids are going to private school. There's a big bill that I'm coming up for. And now let's just say something happened in my business. Something happened in my business that put me in a vulnerable situation where my income went down, my bills went up. And right now I have a tax bill because of the way the U.S. income tax works. These tax bills, when you make a lot of money, they get out of control real quickly.
Oh, I believe it.
And let's just say that this is the situation, that the end of the year comes and I have a $50,000 tax bill I have to pay. But in order to pay that, I won't be able to pay the other things that everyone else is expecting me to pay. And I think to myself, well, it's just $50,000. I'll make up for it next year, and I'll get. All right, yeah, I'm going to get charged penalty and interest. I'll make it up. I'll just kick the can down the road. So I'm not going to pay it, and then I'll just kind of continue and put on a smile to my wife. Say, everything's great. Hey, Merry Christmas! Kids, now we'll do that. No worries. Meanwhile, freaking out a little bit about it. Now, Frances, I'm not done yet, because it actually goes worse. Because let's suppose this is something that's crazy. Because this is what happens. So let's suppose I don't pay the IRS, or this is the other move too. It's like, well, you know what? I just won't file my taxes. That's the other one. Like, I won't file them, then they won't know, and they'll give me a little bit of time. And when things clear up, or when I get that new staff in, then I'll take care of this problem. And so now here's the thing. Listen to this, Frances. So what happens to somebody who does that? Somebody like that, somebody who doesn't pay their bill, doesn't file. Well, this is the problem, Frances. The IRS. Here's the problem. The IRS doesn't do anything. You got away with the crime. So guess what happens in cases that the problem isn't solved, but it goes on for another year. And now it's not as long as thing. And now you have a real problem, because it's not telling your wife like, oh yeah, hey, we're going to have to just come up with a little extra money to pay this here, but it's even bigger. And now you haven't filed taxes. And now it goes on again. And now you see the cycle you're in. You're afraid to tell your wife about this massive, horrible tax problem, because the problem has only gotten worse. And now you're culpable in allowing it to get worse, making it less and less likely you tell her. So one of two things happen. You don't tell her, and she finds out another way, or you decide to tell her. So let's just say this. Let's say that this problem's been going on for 6 years. And we now have an unfiled tax issue. And she's coming to me to say, hey, look, we need some tax returns. We need our last tax returns to apply for financial aid for college for the kids. And now you're thinking to yourself, yeah, this is the day I was fearing. This is the day I'm fearing. How do I tell her, yeah, not only have we not filed, but there could be life, we may owe more than our net worth right now. We may owe more than our net worth, and any payment that I pay will have a significant adjustment to a lifestyle. Can you help me out here? How do I break the news to her?
Okay. The first thing is you are always better off confronting the person. If somebody finds out something another way, it really does put you in a worse light. That we know that, okay? That's number one.
Yeah. So I want, because what can happen oftentimes is a bank account is levied. Well, that's a fun way to, that's a fun way. A federal tax lien's filed, something, a notice in the mail. What's this all about? And a lot of times, like, the husband's been hiding the mail too. Some trust issues going on.
So
Okay,
it's definitely better if they don't find out, because from somebody else, or another way, like you're saying, the letter and all that, because whatever trust is going to be broken, it's not going to be as bad as if you come and say, I've been an ostrich, I've been putting my head in the sand, I know I didn't handle it properly. There's still going to be, and we can talk about this later, there's 6 love needs for women, and respect is one of them. There are 12 love needs, 6 for men, 6 for women. If you keep these love needs, these tanks filled for each sex,
all right,
it will be fairly all right. So if you go to her, and I will get into this further in a minute, but if you go to her, you're showing that respect. You're saying, I made a mistake, but I respect you enough to come. I'm saying I didn't handle it correctly and all that. Now, another thing, Anthony, is women make decisions, process information, and deal with stress differently to men. So the way a guy is going to react and the way, a man is going to react and the way a woman is going to react is completely different. So as well, I would say, if you know that you're going to tell her and there's going to be a build-up, try your best to keep the emotional bond strong. Now, how you do this, the emotional health of a relationship, it doesn't depend on how much you have in the bank. It doesn't depend on if you're driving a Ferrari or a Volkswagen, whatever. It depends on none of that. It depends on the healthiness of the emotional bond between the two people. So you have to keep that tank full. So by keeping that tank full, it would be, doing the other things in life that you can for her to keep the relationship solid. So it's not such a hard fall. Well, it is going to be a hard fall, but it's not going to be as hard a fall if you've kept that emotional bank high for her. She's going to say, look, Anthony's made a huge mistake, but he's a great father. He's a great husband. He doesn't come in roaring the house down every night, drunk, whatever. I'm just giving that as an example. If you keep the other, emotional tanks high, it will be less of a catastrophe. So sorry, Anthony. Yeah.
So step one is really, so respect is step one.
Respect is you be honest. If you say, okay, I'm going to tell her by the end of the week or the end of the month. If you're building up to it, however long, even if it's 6 months, you have to gear up to. Try and keep the emotional bond as healthy and strong as possible. She will be more forgiving then. She will be more accepting. Keep the overall health of the relationship strong. I know you're going to be under acute stress. I know you're going to probably want to come in and, take the head off somebody, if the child is roaring or, and you're going to be impatient because you're going to be under acute stress. But try and keep everything else even keel. Now, when you do approach her, you're going to have to brace her. You're going to have to brace her. Women deal with things differently.
All right. So step 2 is bracing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know whether you follow Dr. Amen on Instagram. Oh, he's fascinating. Well, he even said, if you have a bad diagnosis, you should brace a person for it. Even the doctors do it. So you sit down and you say, this is not good. You are not going to like what I'm going to say, but it has to be said. And you also stay the leader. If your listeners have a pen and paper in front of them, write that down. A woman is looking for a leader. The man is looked on as the leader of the family.
All right. So this is so, and I think for myself, the hardest part for me in this process is like the actual telling part, the actual like telling part. That's the part that's there, because I'm like, I don't see how this is going to go any way that's good. And maybe we're not looking for a good way. We're just not looking for the horrific way.
Exactly. And the answer to that is if you keep the emotional tank high in every other area, and I can give you the 6 love leads now of women. If you
all right, let's do that. So all right, what are the 6 love needs of women? Let's go through.
So the 6 love needs of women, if you keep these high, the emotional bond will be strong, and she will see you as a good partner, and she will be more forgiving. Caring is the first one.
Okay.
Devotion is the second one. Respect, understanding, validation, and a huge one for women that men don't get because their love needs are different is reassurance. Guys come to me and said, but I said 6 years ago on our first date that she looked gorgeous and she was the most beautiful woman I ever saw. We need to hear it every couple of weeks.
So this is all right, and so this is all right. So this is actually part of is really more of the step one. You want to be that good guy, right? This is
you want to be that good guy. You want to be. Oh, Anthony, you hit the nail on the head. You want to be the good guy that did a bad thing. You don't want to be the bad guy. You see, you can be the good guy that has done a bad thing, that made a mistake.
There you go. I like that. So let's go. So let me just, so really for our step one, it's just being that good guy, awesome good guy all around. And so well, let's just say this. Let's say this. What if you haven't, been as good of a guy as you could be? Maybe there's some things getting in your way. Would it be a good idea to sort of like, let me just sort of start doing this a little bit, then get to the bracing?
That's what I was going to say. If you could even build up that emotional bank a bit more, so that you could have that. It's almost like if you're taking care of the 6 love needs, there's a trust there. There's that bond. So I would advise that if you can, if you don't obviously have time and it just comes up, you can't. But if you can build the emotional bond a bit more, so that it won't be as catastrophic.
So I'm just wondering in this situation, because I'm sure there's many men out there who could say, yeah, if I start that, my wife's gonna know. She's gonna say, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, that's true.
But you're still better off. Like, yes, something is going on. So she may, depending on what your baseline is for being a good guy, she may get clued on. But I think that's a good way to start, right? And just really and I think just it's really hard. And this is I think the challenge to get into this and seeing it from your wife's perspective is that, you're in your male world and you're working your butt off like you wouldn't believe. The amount of disrespect you're getting on a daily basis, the amount of humiliation you're getting as you're trying to create something for your family and provide, it can be utterly humiliating. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes this is sort of it's a mixed bag because, maybe the relationship isn't that great to begin with because the man is sort of compensating for the step one being missing by just, here, let me give you some money. Shut up. Give me some money. And like, well, and then this is the problem. Like, well, the reason why he didn't pay taxes was to pay for your, that's sort of a part there. It's like, well, I was trying to make you happy. That's why I didn't pay the taxes. That's why I didn't take the money. I didn't have a girlfriend. I just gave it all to you. And now they're like, why are you mad at me? I did it all for you.
I love that, Anthony. It's so true because guys show their love differently from women. They have the 3 P's: profess, provide, protect. So when a guy is providing, he's giving. I mean, there are couples that the guy said, but I was working 3 jobs. I was
Yeah.
giving her all the money. What's her problem? And,
Right.
I didn't have the energy to go and take her out on a date. What's wrong? You know what I mean? And of course, the woman is like the flower. We have to be watered, to stay open and blooming. But guys don't get it because they love in a different way. And the women don't get it because they don't understand that that's a way that the guy is showing how much I love you. I'm working 2 jobs. And this guy that I knew as well, he kept working harder and harder. The more the relationship got worse and worse, the emotional bond, he kept working harder and harder. And so that was making it worse for her because she was like, I never see you. I don't know you anymore. We never go out on dates. And he was like, oh my God, what do I have to do? It's just not understanding the needs of the opposite sex and how we work. So that guys need to tune into how the women think. The women need attention. They don't, just need the monetary. But I would say you have to brace her about what's happening and say then it's a money issue.
There we go. All right. So okay. So step 2 of bracing, we're just saying
always brace for impact.
brace.
I used to be cabin crew years ago. The first thing you'd say if the plane was going down, brace for impact.
Brace for
The
impact.
doctors, if they've bad news, they say you need to brace yourself. You've got to brace her for what's coming. She will be able to take a breath and say, this isn't going to be good. And then she can hear what you're saying. And then you need to understand, that women will need way more time to process. We have different brains. We have different brain structure. Women will want to get all the information. You need to be able to sit down and have a cup of tea for like 2 hours, and she will ask you everything, and she will bring up and remember everything, because we have a different, we've more white matter in our brains than men. They have more gray matter. That's why we have, and also we have a pool in our brain with everything in it: our emotions, our thoughts, our memories. Guys have boxes in their brains, compartments, where they put their relationship in, they put their tax problem in. So they go away and forget about it. A woman's not going to be able to forget about it. It's going to be in her head 24/7. Be prepared for that. When you tell her, from the moment you open your mouth, it's going to be in the room, in her head, thinking about little Johnny's homework, and thinking about her messages list for the week, her shopping list. We have it all in one place. So she can't get a break from it. See, men step away and they take a break from their problem. We can't. It's there all the time. So that's what guys have to understand. She could come back a couple of days later and say, I forgot to ask you this, and sit down. We need to talk about that, because we process the information differently. We make decisions differently. Men want to make a decision straight away, fix the problem, and they don't talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we could do it without anyone knowing, even better.
Yes, even better. Women are a bit like that too, I think.
No.
But they'll solve their problem themselves. That's why men, they go away and they sort out themselves. If they can't, they'll ask advice. They'll ask their wife, they'll ask their buddy, they'll ask their father, but they want to go and figure it out. Men are amazing. Men are fixers, the Mr. Fix-Its. They're amazing. Their brains they have an action center in their brain that, is just single focused on the problem. So it's like men are made for emergencies. I mean, we just would have no lives without you. You are just our superheroes, really. Your brain is made like a superhero. So the man will want to fix it and get it over with and fix it. And that the woman doesn't know. We have to analyze, and we have to take on board all that's involved. And what about little Johnny and little Marie? And it's a whole swimming pool. So when you've braced for her for impact, and you tell her, gear up to it, it's a financial problem, something to do with our tax. No, little Johnny isn't sick, or I'm not ill, I don't, have an illness. It's to do with our finances, and it's the worst it can be. Tell her what section of life, the problem's in. So,
and I think this is where we're bracing from impact. We're saying, okay, I have bad news to tell you. What are we saying here? That
I would say we are in big trouble with the tax man. The worst it can be. The worst. Okay. Just lay your cards on the table. Okay. She's braced now. So it is the worst we can be. We have a huge problem. I I'm sorry, apologize. Say, I am sorry. I haven't, if you've stuck your head in the sand and it's been 6 years or a year, whatever, I'm sorry I haven't handled it properly. I'm handling it now. I assure you it's going to be handled. Remember the leader. Remember, you're going to be the leader. You're not going to crumble under the pressure. You're a Mr. Fix-It. Your brain is built for that. So you're going to say, don't worry, I have a plan. I'm going to fix it. But we need to be in this together. I need to tell you it's a big financial problem. Everything else is okay. I'm not ill. Because sometimes when you say brace for impact, people think that you've cancer or you've a year to live. They don't know what domain you're talking about. So be specific and tell her that way. Say it's a tax problem, but I am going to fix it and it's going to be okay. Reassurance. One of the 6 love needs reassurance. It's going to be okay. I'm handling it and we're going to get through this. But we have to move together.
Well, this might be a place where a firm like mine could help out. Let me just because what we often do in situations is, even when husbands have been hiding problems for a while, they can often forget the details a little bit, and they might not know things exactly what happened. And sometimes things happen, and it's not even the husband who's to blame. So let me just, if you are thinking that you might need to get some help, what we do with our clients is, for many of them, we start with an investigation to say, okay, this is everything going on. Here's where it is. Here's your balance. Here's where you are collecting. Here's what the IRS is going to do. This is the next step. Here are your steps of resolution if you decide to do that. That is something we do. And if you want to go there, just go to our website here, irsmedic.com.help. There you can schedule a time to speak with us in order to get that done, to get a report so that you can go. And I would recommend this to say, I would say it seems like it would be a lot better. Not only is it's bad news, but I am the leader. I took action. And I figured out everything that's wrong. Here's what happened. Here's everything that we owe. And here's our best solutions. Here's our best solutions out of this problem. Would that be better to have during step 2?
I was just going to say, Anthony, that would be fantastic. I'll tell you why. Women love to have the A to Z. And when they have an expert on board that can say, look, this is what's happening. This is how we can help you. Women make informed decisions. We need to gather information all about it. So, and as well, it's a great support for the couple. I mean, support is amazing in anything. I have a coach for everything. I mean, I love support. It just gets you there quicker. It makes the stress less. You have less stress when you have support, and you cannot beat the expertise of the people that are doing it all the time. They know everything, like yourself. You are the expert. So I highly recommend that, because it is going to be a roadmap and a guide of your way out of it, and you're not going to feel alone. The big difference between men and women, this is another huge thing, if your viewers want to write it down. Women do not want to feel alone. Their number one need in life, I don't want to be alone. And the number one need for men is, I need to feel needed. So very different. No wonder we clash.
Wow.
Very different. Women do not want to be alone. And that's why when men and women are in conflict, the woman wants to talk and sort it out and gather the information and, all that. And her amygdala in her brain, it's connected to the emotion side of things, and she can get very emotional. The amygdala in the man's brain is connected to the fight or flight response. Again, men are action takers. So the man just wants to go to his man cave, as John Gray says, go out and watch a bit of television alone. He wants to be alone to gather his thoughts and fix the problem himself. The woman doesn't. So the women feel hurt when the guy goes, because in our world, we would never be left alone by our fellow women, because the fellow women understand, you don't ever want to feel alone. You want support. You want to bond. You want to talk, because, talking is a de-stressor for women. Venting de-stresses us. So no wonder we clash, because when we're in conflict, the men have the fight and flight response in their brain, and the women have the, I need to talk. We need to sort this out. I need to bond response. So we're going in opposite directions.
Yeah, I don't know how we've stayed together all these thousands of years here. This is amazing.
It's so true,
oh my!
Anthony.
Right, no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. I mean, this is you know, I'm 52 years old, and everything you says lines up with my experience for sure. So okay. So here we are. We're finishing step 2. And maybe you got a report to say, hey, look, this is everything going on. Here's a solution in place that we can do. We can get this done ourselves together. So let's say that you've done that. Now we told her the bad news. What's our next step after this?
Yes.
I assume it's not running down to the pub. I don't think it's that.
Yes, definitely not. No,
okay.
Definitely not. So again, keep the 6 love needs burnt in your brain.
All right. Yeah. So again, that's back in right. Here we are. Here we are with this. This is what we want to start with, because this is what we want to be. This is always what we want to be. And basically, step 1 is always going on. It never ends.
Exactly. And if you do that, it keeps the emotional bond strong. I can give the men's love needs as well, but we're talking about women at the minute. So it keeps the emotional bond strong, and you'll be the good guy that made a mistake. You're not going to be the bad guy. You're going to be the good man that just did a bad thing once. You know what I mean? So you have to. It could happen to anybody.
And it really can. And honestly, that's the truth. It actually can.
That is, I totally believe it. I totally agree it can. And listen, you know, things happen that we don't plan for. You know, this is the roller coaster of life. And we have to just, you know, go with the flow. And we have everything honestly within us to get through things. It's just to understand, for the relationship to stay together, to understand both parties, that we do deal with stress differently. So the woman is going to be acutely stressed. She's not going to be able to get a break from it. Remember I said that about...
Yeah, right. She's right. She's waking up thinking about it. Always
all day long. All day long.
This is her new wonderful obsession. Oh, this is, oh boy.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not going to be good. So
yeah,
stay calm. That's the main thing.
So step 3 is staying calm and just sort of letting, like,
apologize profusely. Admit you're wrong. Say, I am so sorry. You have to allow, you know, her a bit of space, and, you know, giving her time to understand what's going on, and you saying you're sorry. That goes so far with any human being. Saying, I put my hands up. I did the wrong thing. I am so sorry.
All right. Well, I'll go with you here. I'll go with you. Be sorry and give her space. But at the same point, we have to be caring, devoted, give respect, understanding, validation, reassurance.
Yes. When I say give her space, I mean just give her the hour, 2 hours you're sitting at the table. It's not going to be a quick thing,
okay.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah. Guys are going to be like, oh, look, that's the problem. There's nothing else to say about it. You know, I'm sure people are echoing this with other couples, have this echoed in their head with other arguments, you know, like, you know, the joke my husband will say, but, you know, we've said everything, you know, we've said it in 2 sentences. Why are you still talking? You know, it's like women want to talk and talk for an hour. And he's like, well, we've resolved. And I'm like, no, but I need to know, why did this happen? And, you know, so it's going to be a long conversation, and allow for that.
Well, you know what? This is what I would say. You know, men are hardwired, I think, for efficiency. And so we're looking for efficiency in our relationships.
I love it.
And right, you're like, well, actually, the thing that is, you know, like, a woman is looking for the least efficient relationship in a way, if you think about it. And the men's like, well, let's just solve the problem. But the whole relationship is the way women solve their problems. Something like,
yes, like the woman wants to gather as much information. It's like, for instance, you know, I heard a man say, my cat got sick. The cat got very ill. We brought her to the vet. We got a solution. We got the medicine. The cat's fine. But no, my wife wanted to know, did he eat a plant out in the garden? How did it happen? But did you ask the vet what it was caused by? Yada, yada, yada. And he was like, I didn't, like, only for John Gray, he was saying, I wouldn't understand what's all this hullabaloo about. The cat's fine. We got the medicine. But no, the woman wants to make sure it never happens again and keep her cat safe. And we have to process that information. So it's going to be a long talk. You're going to be asked A to Z. You're going to be asked, you know, how are we going forward? What's going to happen? But how are you going to fix it? So I would have my answers ready for that.
Right.
Have your plan to build trust and confidence.
Right. And so getting back to make sure you have that plan. So that's really the thing. You just don't want to go in this blind. You want to get that plan to say, here, look, we're in trouble, but we can get this solved.
Exactly. And to be honest, Anthony, if they come to the table and say, you know, look, I've contacted, you know, Anthony, he's an expert in this. They've told me what to do. These are the facts. You're going to get points for that. You went to the expert. You know, it's not just your
There you
opinion.
go.
It's not just your opinion. These are the experts. Anthony has said this. You know, we now know what to do. You made the effort in going and trying to fix this. So I highly recommend, if you have your ducks in a row like that, women give points to men and men give points to women, but we give them differently.
Yeah,
Women give a point
you're absolutely right, because I've seen this, and I've seen this dynamic. You know, I've seen the dynamic when I'm meeting with a husband and wife, and it's not going well. And it's not going well. Like, okay, this is a problem. We're definitely not, you know, a divorce is likely going to happen here. I can see that. And then I see the situations where, you know, okay, bad news, and then you know, there's sort of a teamwork. Like, yeah, you know, my man messed up a little bit, but I'm going to stick by him, and that's okay. We can handle it together. And you know, that's where I get pretty excited. Like, all right, awesome. We can get. Yeah. So all right. So let's say. So we're now, because I love, you know, I'm a man, so I love my steps. I love my logical steps.
Yes.
So our next step is step 3. After, because we just said, hey, look, we're sorry. We still don't know what a reaction is going to be, but we did the best thing we could do. We're a good guy, and we have a record of being a good guy. We have a plan. We're apologizing profusely. And we gave her the space, but that doesn't mean going to the pub. That just gives her some processing time for an hour or two, not like going off for the weekend. And all right,
I'll let to ask you the questions. Yeah, the space to ask you questions, and you stay with her. Do you know what I mean? I suppose, you know,
okay.
Wrong word. Give her the time, I suppose, is the word. And when she has the time and she's asking you things, she's processing it, so she has that space within herself to process it.
Would there be a good time of the week for this? Because I'm trying, what day would you tell them? I'm like, oh boy, every day kind of has a. Would there be a better time than a worse time?
I would say definitely when she's least stressed. When the stress, you know, if somebody's sick, or you know, she's sick, she's the flu or whatever, do not go there. You know,
so just when she thinks she doesn't have any problems in your life, you give it to her. That's what you. Hey, you're feeling good now, huh? All right, great. Woo, all right, because boy, I've been trying to tell you something. All right, so you're just trying to say a time when there's not something other, because what I would say this, like, when something other, not massive, is going on. That this time when some perfection is not going to happen, but when there's not something other. That's like, right, like a child sickness, a parent sickness, something like that. Let's wait for that. And then it just, you know, and time of the week. Is there a magical time of the week?
I would say definitely, you know, I would say a weekend is better, because like I've just said, women are twice as stressed in the modern day than their mothers and grandmothers were. Sometimes when they put the key in the door at 6 p.m., their second work day starts with the homework and the cleaning. You know,
absolutely.
It's just the modern, you know, world. We have 2 jobs in a way, you know. A lot of the time now in some households, it's not that way. So I would say a weekend, a Saturday morning, when she's, you know, just calm, doesn't have to go to work, hasn't had a day of work, that she's in her masculine energy. Masculine energy actually brings a woman's oxytocin down. So when your cortisol, the stress hormone, is high in a woman, oxytocin brings it down. In a man, when the cortisol is high, testosterone brings it down. That's why a guy has the fight or flight response when they're fighting. They need to build up the testosterone. We know it's high in the morning, it depletes during the day. So they go for a nap, brilliant testosterone builder. They play a video game or they watch television. They do a less challenging activity. Women are different. For oxytocin to be up, we need to be, you know, doing something like a massage, or being creative, or playing an instrument, something in our feminine energy, reading a book, you know, that where oxytocin is high and the cortisol is low. So I would think her oxytocin is high if she's been out with her friend walking, bonding or walking or female
Oh,
contact.
I think you said the word there, bonding. I think that right
Bonding
there,
brings the
because you said
oxytocin.
you just told me a woman doesn't want to be alone.
Women
So
don't
they
want
want
to
to be
be.
alone. So if after, there's some good bonding going on, it's like, okay, hey, you had a good time
Yeah,
with your friend.
yeah.
100%.
100%. Or, like I say, when she's not stressed. So it's different, like I say, for men and women. The oxytocin brings the stress down. So pick a time where her oxytocin is calm. Not when she's come from work in the masculine energy that's brought her oxytocin down. We want it when it's high.
All right. Okay, so step 4, because we still don't know her reaction yet. So where are we with step 4?
Yes. So we know it's not going to be good. So it could be catastrophic. It could
Yes.
be, on the Richter, I'm leaving you. This is
Yes.
horrific. How could you do it? Now, people say things in the heat of the moment. Her cortisol is going to be very high after this conversation. Like I say, we need to give her a chance, give her a bit of space, give her time to process. Remember, we were saying, women want all the facts and everything. Give her a chance to process, to feel the impact of it. But the main thing you do here then is you be the leader. You be the Mr. Fix-It. You do the 6 love needs. So you go about sorting out the problem. So you can give your solution. Say, I have a plan. I have talked to this man, Anthony. I have all the information here. It's not just my little fancy thing of what's happening. These are facts. These are how we can get out of it. I can schedule a meeting again with him next week. This is what I've done. I've saved a bit of money over here to fix the problem. Whatever steps you're doing to improve it, you then lay that out. Remember, reassurance, one of the 6 love needs. So you're showing the respect, you're showing your caring. Again, you're going to show your understanding. I'm so sorry. I realize this is a disaster. I know I did the wrong thing. I am so sorry. And then the reassurance, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. I know you need time to process it. I can give you anything you need from me. If you need me to, mind the kids tomorrow and the day after, for you to just be, with your girlfriends and take a break from all this after hearing it, try and raise her oxytocin. So that would be my next step, is a step 4, raise her oxytocin by offering to mind the children, or, give her a break, be there for her.
So let's say here, you're going to be the leader, and you're going to, and really, it's sort of a continuation of
Yes.
step 1, and like step 1 is always going on, right?
It's always
perpetual.
It's always
So sort of be the leader, perpetual step 1. Kind of, that's what I would say,
and that's the reassurance. You have to hit now on the reassurance.
Reassurance.
You're showing that you're the leader. You're giving her the information she needs to process it. So, like, I've got expert advice from Anthony. I'm doing this now. I'm getting a second job to make up for it. And then the reassurance, it's all going to be okay. Look, this is the plan. This is the plan. And we're going to make it together. Reassurance is massive for women.
Well, now this starts to make a little bit sense here, because what often happens is that the IRS creates so much fear and anxiety that guys won't even look at it. I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And, hey, the tax code does not do us any favors by being easily understood at all. And so what you said is like, this is what I always tell people. There's always a solution to every tax problem. There always is. There always is. Every one of them can be solved. We have done it all the time. So that you just have to, it's so the step may be learning what the process is. And that's something that, obviously that's something that we really do. We try to educate our clients about the whole process. We get a report from them like, okay, this is what's going on. And then we go through the whole, this is what something that we do is, this is what I actually enjoy doing, is when I have your husband and wife in front of me, really getting into with the wife, explaining, because the way I look at it is like, well, the more detailed I am, this has always been in the back of my mind, the more detailed I am, the happier the wife is going to be, the more likely I'll have a happy client. That's the way I kind of look at it.
And I was just about to say that, Anthony, the wife is going to want to know all that. She's going to say to him, what did Anthony say? Or I need to see the brief, or let me speak to Anthony with you. They're going to want all
I would see Oh no, you're absolutely right. Because if I'm doing a consultation with both, it's 80% of the time I'm talking with the wife. Your husband like, oh yeah, this is going on,
Yeah.
and then she's like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? What about this? And I'm
The
like,
guy
oh,
just
yep,
wants
yep.
it fixed. The
That's a
woman
great
wants to
right.
know, how are we going to get out of here? Together. How are we going to get out of it?
Right, and they'll bring up everything too, which. But it's been right. That's exactly my experience, and that's usually actually that's usually the tell when the wife is asking a lot of questions. Now that I realize it, that's the best indication that this is going to be solved. It's when you get this.
Yes.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Brilliant point, because the woman is shut down. Then you see women shut down. They're like the flower, like I say. You keep watering and we're open, we're blooming. We get resentful and shut down if our needs aren't met. So guys go indifferent. Guys just get indifferent. They just say, okay, I'm indifferent. I'm just not going to do anything.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
I'm just not going to bother. You don't appreciate the little things I'm doing, so why would I bother with the big things? But the woman, they shut down. And I would say as well, Anthony, very important is to say we're going to get through it together. We're stronger.
Say it and say it. You got to say it.
You've got to be the leader. You've got to say it. We're going to do this together. It's going to be fine. The reassurance again, the 6 love needs. We are going to get through it together. We have a better survival rate, and chance and everything financially,
absolutely.
Relationship wise and everything, if we stick together. That's the number one thing we need to do. We stick together.
And that's true.
And we get support.
That's true.
It's true.
Right. And I would say this. Well, look,
nobody wins in divorce.
Right. And maybe right. No one wins in divorce, and especially a divorce made at that time. Hey, maybe maybe you decide to move on later on, but don't do it then. Don't do it. That's the worst time. No. Yes. Because you think you're in a bad situation now. Just wait. Just wait to how awful it could be. So I would say, no matter what, you guys are a team. Right now, you're a team. Stay together as a team. Man's got to be a leader. Here's a plan. We're going to get out of this, and let's go through the details. And what I like to see is when I'm getting that engagement. When I could see wife's like, okay, yep, and when she's asking a lot of questions and now understands the issue maybe a little bit better than husband. And that's like what I'm looking to do. It's like, well, because, and this is really a thing, because women do tend to have that eye for detail that they don't forget about things. That's a power. You don't, but that's why you want that power working for you. And it's like, well, harness that power to fight the IRS. Like, haha, guys, guess what you got to deal with now?
Exactly. We don't forget. And, like guys only have one language area in their brain on the left center, and women have 6 or 7, and they're on both hemispheres.
I bet.
So like we talk more, we say, is it 2,000 words versus guys saying 500 a day? Guys don't talk only if they are figuring out a problem. That part of their brain rests.
Is that right?
100%. And that's why, you're like, what are you thinking? How come you're not talking? Because a guy's going to say, I don't need to. I'm happy out. I'm content. I'm not figuring something out. I'm not, thinking about my RS, IRS problem. I'm fine. I'm happy. Whereas women, we talk so much and we kind of say, well, why aren't you talking? Because, we are the talkers. We talk much more than men. So it's big brain differences, but you're right, Anthony. The main thing is you stick together. United we stand, and you get the support you need. And if you follow those steps, it's not going to be heaven. It's not going to be hunky-dory. We're not saying that, but you're going to be the good man that made a mistake. You're not going to be the bad. You're not going to be the bad guy. She's going to say, look, this guy has done everything he can. He's doing his best. He's trying to clean up what's happened. We can only ask for people to do their best. We can't do any more. That's all we can do ourselves.
That's right. That is right. And
what did Sharon Osbourne say? She married 35 years, Sharon Osbourne, Ozzy Osbourne. And she said, what? My marriage? the answer to my marriage is I forgive and I forgive and I forgive and I forgive. So, we got to take a leaf out of that book. It's forgiveness. People will be happier if we forgive and we move on together with help, with support.
With help, right? Well, so bringing me to step 5, which now at this point, and again, at this point, we still don't know the ultimate reaction. We still don't know. We gave her space, but we're not sure exactly how this is going to go. So where are we at step 5? And does it depend what happens next?
I would say it does depend. I mean, you can have a few scenarios. If it's the scenario where I'm not interested in doing this, it's a catastrophe, it's a joke, I want out, you probably have to suggest more support with, look, can we go to counseling, coaching? Let's get help to get this back on track. But you do not give up. You do not give up.
Oh, wow.
Don't give up.
Wow, that's like such the obvious step. That's awesome.
And I mean, women, don't give up. Women respond to attention. Don't give up. Keep on at it. Even if somebody says that, what's that saying? It ain't over till the fat lady sings.
That's right. That's right.
You don't know when a woman is going to sit back and go, you know what, I've been thinking about myself, but really this isn't the right thing for my children. They're going to lose out. Women start thinking about the whole pool, the whole picture. How's this? First you freak out and you fly off the handle and you're angry and you're thinking about you and you're thinking about you and your partner. Then you start, if you have children, thinking about that. So, I mean, even some of the best people in the world that have the healthiest relationships have said, one of them, that I know, have said, I wanted a divorce, but then I started thinking about my children and they made it. Pink, the singer Pink, came out yesterday, the day before, on Instagram. They're married 18 years. She said, we nearly didn't make it to here a couple of times. And I remember 10 years ago, I remember seeing that they went for counseling. Never give up. Don't give up on what you cherish and what you believe in. This is what we're here for, to fight for each other. So, don't give up. The woman can process things. She can think of something differently, and something you might say that day might trigger her, and she might say, you know what? Okay, let's give it a try. I'm not promising anything. I'm not promising we're going to make it out of this, but let's just see how it goes for now. You might get that branch, and that sometimes is all you need to just come together again and make it work. Don't give up. Keep being the good man.
Yes, exactly. Because what you're doing when you don't give up, you're only reinforcing your good guyedness. Like, wow, this guy messed up.
And the leadership.
And the leadership, which is what they want.
That's what
you're like, wow, this guy's really insistent that I don't divorce him.
This guy is insistent.
And he keeps on doing this, and he keeps on doing these things that, like, what?
And and every human, look, we know that every human wants to feel special. I mean, that's the difference, the fundamental difference between animals and humans. Humans have a need and want to feel important, but the woman wants to feel like she's the only woman in the world, that she wants to feel like she's special. Just act like there is no other, female on the planet. And that is big. That is big. Women want devotion. Remember, we talked about it. Caring, devotion. They want to feel cherished. Again, you're always doing the 6 love needs. But like I say, we don't want to feel alone. Even if she took her bag and moved out, don't let her feel alone. Still be the unit. Still act like you're the unit. You know what I mean?
And I want to thank you for that. That's exactly right, because I've seen it. Because I've seen it where okay, the confrontation went and things go great. And the husband's now in the doghouse, and now in the dog, he's in the doghouse, right? And he is. But the one who embraces the doghouse, and the one who doesn't get mad about it, and the one who doesn't have a chip on his shoulder, like, no, but like, okay, yep, you know what? That's all right, honey. You know what? That's not a big deal. You know what? You feel bad. I feel bad. This is what it is. I don't care that I'm in the doghouse. I'm still going to do all these things and cherish you and do all the things. I'm still here for you. I'm still here to, give you support for everything that you need. I'm not going anywhere. You're sending a huge message there. I mean, that's a huge, huge message by just hanging tight.
Because as well, men test women and women test men. So it can be a test. Testing doesn't just go
Ooh.
on in dating. Women,
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
am I throwing him off his balance? Is this going to throw him off his balance? Let's see how much of a leader he is. Let's see how core confident he is. What's he going to do with this now?
You
So
women are.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
you
tough
guys are
lines,
so much smarter. Oh man,
tough lines with us. Well, men test women,
uh,
but women are way more complex, Anthony, to be honest. Men are black and white, simple. I love it. Women are, I mean, I wouldn't like to be a man dealing with women. We are way more complex. Even honestly, our brains, it's just the way it is. And women are amazing. And I love women and I am one myself, but we are more complicated. So like, don't fail the test. Just stay by your guns. Stick by your guns. Be the leader. Do all you can. Stand by what you say. See, talk is cheap. Okay, he's saying this to me, but is he going to walk the walk?
I like that. I like it. Yeah. Actions speak loudest. I think that's what we're going to say. Actions speak loudest because that's kind of what they're doing with their test. They're saying, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to do the same old, thing that you were doing before and give me and then just go off to your thing? So your actions, right? So all right, don't give up.
That's what matters.
Regardless of how the reaction was, no matter what, don't give up. Cherish your actions speak loudest. And when we're talking about these actions, we're talking about these step one actions: the caring, devotion, respect, understanding, validation, reassurance. Keep it up. Keep going. Don't stop. Just because you might interpret her reaction as like, oh, okay, I guess it's over. Give up. Oh well. Don't. It's too important. Don't.
It's too important. Say no. We're going to make this work. I'm going to show you. I know you need time. I know you need proof. I know, you're thinking maybe talk is cheap, but I'm going to walk the walk. And if you give me the chance to show you, give me the chance. If you give me the chance and time to show you, I will. And, I do think, men have such a power that they don't even realize when they stand in their core confidence and they stand in their leadership. There's nothing you can't do. And you can woo your woman again, and you can win her over, and you can show her I'm serious. But it could be a test. And if you've made a mistake, let's be honest, Anthony, sometimes we have to suck things up. We have to suck it up. If we're in the doghouse, we can't be roaring the house down, going, "Why am I?" You can say, "Look, I get it. I'm sorry.
I did it right.
I get it. Hands up.
I belong here. This is my punishment. I accept it, and I'm not going to be a jerk about it. I'm not going to blame you for me being where I am. I'm responsible for where I am because I didn't tell you this when it happened. I didn't make the adjustments when it was necessary. So I'm okay being here because I earned this spot. That's okay. I'm going to continue loving you the way that I want to. That's the way it's going to be.
And stay calm. Confident people that have a plan, good leaders, they stay calm. They stick to the blueprint. And people go, oh my God, this is someone to follow.
Oh my God.
This guy knows what he's doing. I want to be.
How did this happen? We're running out of. How did this happen? We're running out of time. Oh my God, we gotta get to step 6 here. Whoa, okay. So what's step 6 here?
So step 6, you keep rinsing and repeating. Now, if it's a different scenario where she doesn't say you're in the doghouse, we're getting divorced, whatever, she says, okay. I get what you're saying. You made a mistake. What do we do now? You say, I have my plan. I have my action plan. We're going to Anthony tomorrow. We're going to gather all the information. We're going to get knuckled down as quick as we can and get out of this as quick as we can. And this is what I suggest. What do you think? What do you suggest? Ask her opinion. We're in it together. Respect, that she will have an opinion and value her opinion and her input into it, and come together. That would be the best scenario coming out of it. That's what we're hoping for. That's the reaction we'd be hoping for.
Well, this is fantastic. And I want to just tell you something. The client I was talking earlier this week, this is what he's been doing. This is exactly what he's been doing.
Bravo.
Exactly. He's just like, okay. Just going along. And his ex-wife, or divorcing, is where it's at now.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily convinced it's gonna. The way that he's been handling this.
Yeah, he can make.
I'm like, I think at some point, there's a really good chance that, because what is it? He's just accepted responsibility to 100%, and he's always been calm.
Yeah.
Doesn't react, understands, like, you're right, I didn't do this because I
Mhm.
was afraid of what was going to happen.
Okay.
And I'm responsible for it. And, when I talk to them all the time, it's like, you don't want to have the client who's just sort of not going anywhere, just blaming everything on and blaming,
You blaming.
right. And blaming. But we're
Yeah.
like, yep, I was responsible. Let's move on. And it happens, and things do move on, and life gets better. And maybe this is the thing, because this is what I would say is sort of the ultimate advice. When we get really where everything starts and ends is step one. Because you know what, you cannot make someone love you. It's impossible. So you could do everything right, and they could just be done, or maybe they have their own problem they didn't tell you about. Maybe they have something to tell you about, like, oh, you just have a tax problem. Oh, don't worry about it. I got something to tell you.
Yeah. You don't know. You don't know.
But when you follow these things in your relationship, right? When you follow these steps in your relationship with kind of not just your wife, but a daughter, a mother, sister, every woman in your life, when you understand this is what you're needing, you're always going to be in a better situation. Yes, and you know what? You may end up in a divorce. But I would say this, and this is because I've definitely seen a lot of my friends and a lot of clients who've gone through. And when they're this guy, you don't stay single for long. You don't. You don't. They can sniff you out. So not that you're looking for that, but this is what you want to be. This is what you want to be. You want to be this guy because you're in high demand. You will be in high demand. And really, it's, and that when you're this guy, who cares you had a tax problem? We're solving it together. Big deal. So what?
Yeah.
Because you're giving the important thing. And
Yes.
that we often mistake, because we get as men, we believe that, oh, I got to provide. And you're thinking bigger, more. That's better. Well, there's a balance, right? There's a balance. Like, yeah, we need money, but I also need you here.
Men
So
feel that they feel the more they provide, then they'll be lovable. That's where it comes from.
yeah.
I'll be lovable if I keep providing. I'll be enough. I'll be lovable. That's a need in men. Women don't have it. That's why guys are like, I'm the provider. I have to keep giving, and then I'll be worthy of love.
And that's why they'll shut up about the problem and take it like, no, I got to love my family. Hide them, protect them from this. And I'll just never tell them about it. I'll figure it out some way.
It's their self-identity being the provider. It's hitting that as well,
It
for them.
is. Wow.
But men are amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. Well, this is, I am, you know what? We don't have time because I wanted to do it the other way around. Maybe we could do another one because it happens. Well, because I think we're going to have to do another one because this has been way too good. Time went way too fast for me because I want to do the other way around when you need to tell your husband about a tax problem, because that does happen. Usually the facts are a little bit different, but based on what I learned here today from you, there's going to be a different strategy for that.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a different, that based on what I learned, I'm like, wait a second. And I think there's a situation there. So we're going to do that. We are going to do that. And I got to say, we got a beautiful comment here from Casey, loving the expertise from Frances. Absolutely. Frances. Oh my God. Thank you so much. And I put this in the super chat to get a free copy. You have a free book that you're giving people. You're taking a lot of these things here. Here's a link. The link is in the description below too. If you're on YouTube, you can click there, but this is it. So this is a free book you're giving, your wisdom that we're learning today, people can get.
Yeah, they can get it. It's John Gray, Winner from Mars, Winner from Venus. It's gold. It's my experience. It's all the information from Mars, Venus, the gender intelligence. It's a roadmap with all the important things, how for men, how to keep the love alive and grow in love instead of having the conflict erode the love. Come closer together after conflict. So honestly, it's a simple blueprint. There's nothing complex. Anybody can follow it, and it's free. It will help people.
Okay, I'm gonna read it, and then we'll cover it the next time we're on, and I'll give feedback on it because now that I understand, really the key is that step one, that really providing those 6 needs. If we're doing that, we can handle a lot.
And they're
kind of handle anything.
We can handle anything. It'll keep the emotional bond strong. And Anthony, they're completely different for men. So the women have to learn all the guy love needs to be able to to have the balancing
Oh,
act
wow.
relationship.
Yeah, Frances, I just want to thank you for being a guest here. Your expertise is, I know so many men need to hear it,
It's
and
my
so many women
pleasure.
will benefit if their men hear it. I hope that people facing this alone don't do it alone and watch this and read your book to say, here's how I can solve the problem and things can be better. And if you address it quicker, it's better for everybody. It's better for you. It's better for your wife. It's better for your kids. It's better for everybody to get to it as quick as you can. This is just incredible. And it's just, it's just so funny when, and that I have a lot of high earning clients who are high power guys. And when it comes down to it, it's like, but the same weakness, that thing of like, I'm afraid to tell my wife though.
I
And it's
don't
so
blame
true.
them. It's so hard, but it can be done. And the
It can be
support
done.
is here.
And the
You know,
support's there.
they have us. You just reach out. I've got support in so many things in my life. People think, asking for help is for the weak
Oh,
people. Even Tony Robbins, the top guy in coaching, says,
yeah.
the smart people ask for help. We all need help. So don't
We
be
all need
afraid.
help. Yeah.
Make the
So
best you can.
So here's Frances's website, franceskellehercoaching.com. I put the link to her book, free book, get that. And if you are looking for help if you're looking to start that process of getting a plan together so that you could show your wife you have this 100% under control because you follow the you know her sick needs so well. You know she wants details. You want to know thorough. This is a great way to start. Just go to irismedic.com/help. And meanwhile, I would suggest this too. And hopefully, the more people we get to watch this, the better for people because you could just send your wife to this video to say, oh, wow, a lot of people watch this video. Yes, because it's a very common problem. And I think if this issue is more exposed, like, yeah, it's not just you, but it's people, someone
More
down the street.
acceptable. It's more
So,
acceptable.
right. It's more acceptable. Your husband isn't alone. He's not a monster. There's this going on. And then as you kind of go a little bit more deeper into the law, you realize, well, this is actually, who the real criminal is here? Yeah, it's not my husband. It could be the government. You might conclude that as well, that, the bad guy, it's not your husband. It's the people who are doing this to us. It might be. And that's what we like to see is that people united. So with that, Frances, I want to thank you so much. This is just fantastic, and I look forward to having you on a gun. And we'll schedule that. We'll schedule that up incredibly shortly. Just hang on, and I'll follow up with you after we go. This is Anthony Parent.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank your viewers.
Thank you.
Thanks,
and so just one more. Be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so that you know when we go live. We might go live at any time, and then you can add your comments and questions, concerns, and be part of the discussion. This is Anthony Parent for Frances Kelleher. Thank you for watching.